What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hopefully your Monday has been going incredible. If it has, make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Today I want to go over some of the discussions currently going on regarding the upcoming infrastructure bill. First, we know the fourth stimulus check is being seen as the only option to bring millions and keep millions and millions of Americans out of poverty. We also know Democrats Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders are at it again over which person's provision should be included into the next bill. We also know President Biden is now open to negotiating the scope and financing of the next infrastructure package. Reports indicate that the United States spent $660 billion more in March than it actually collected in revenue. That is a lot. And reports also indicate that if Congress doesn't know where to find the money to pay for additional direct payments to the American people, they should look at our defense budget. Because as Bernie Sanders pointed out today, the United States spends $547 billion more than the second country, which is China. Again, this is what we just allocate to defense. The crazy thing about when Democrats argue is that the American people see the real numbers. And honestly, these numbers are scary. So, let's first begin with what we are hearing regarding the upcoming or possible fourth stimulus check. The reason I say possible is because this is not a guarantee. It's an upcoming possibility. Some people out there are saying that this is guaranteed. We're going to get a fourth stimulus check. I wish I could guarantee that. Honestly, I think this is probably about a 60% chance we see an additional stimulus check. That is according to experts. That is not according to me. Again, I'm just a guy on YouTube trying to give you updates that we get daily. So this is all information that you can go and get out there. I just try to condense it all so that you get the most important and pertinent information and you get it in a timely fashion. So Democrats are saying that right now, the $1,400 stimulus checks, they did their job. They worked. They provided the American people with relief. They helped get people out of poverty. But the question is now, how do these people stay out of poverty? What do they do? Well, this is what we're hearing right now, and according to the Urban Institute, they ran an analysis. And in their analysis, they found that roughly 44 million Americans would have been living in poverty in 2021 if it were not for those $1,400 stimulus checks, if it was not for the $300 per week in unemployment boost, and if it was not for rental assistance and nutrition assistance. Again, we can't really talk about those child tax credits because we haven't even seen them. The IRS doesn't even know if they'll even be able to implement those in June or July like they were supposed to do. So as of right now, that was being seen as one of the biggest things to pull people out, especially children, out of poverty. But again, we don't even know if those are coming anytime soon. Those might be a tax credit we see in 2022. And that is not the way Democrats actually want that to work. And as a result of this, all the spending from the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, only 28 million people are currently living in poverty. Again, there was supposed to be an estimate of 44 million people would have been living in poverty. But now, according to the Urban Institute, only 28 million are living in poverty. I guess that's a win. I guess that's a good thing. 16 million people aren't living in poverty anymore, yet there's still 28 million. So I guess that's a glass half full, glass half empty type of thing. I don't know. That's still roughly 8.7% of the American population is currently living in poverty. That's not great. As we're supposed to be the richest country in the world, the best country in the world, the land of opportunity, and almost 9% of the American population are living in poverty. That's not right. But experts say that if another stimulus check is passed in this next infrastructure bill, then many of those 16 million people will not have to go back into poverty. But if it's not passed, they will go right back into poverty. And that's not what Democrats are wanting. Meaning, the government will need to step up, provide another stimulus check. As to the amount, as to what other assistance they're going to provide, as of right now, we just don't know. But experts say something has to be done. So, Democrats argue that providing an additional stimulus check is not the question. And it's not a question as to if we will provide it. The question is how much and when. That's according to Democrats. But the problem is that this is just the start of the fight amongst Democrats. It's not done. We're not done. The fight is just beginning. Today, Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders are at it again. They're at it again. Usually they're fairly okay with one another. They've had their differences in the past, but usually they do pretty well. But they're at it again because Bernie Sanders, he has his side, Nancy Pelosi has her side. And who's going to be right? Who is going to get their provision through? Well, this is what we know. Right now, Nancy Pelosi wants to see a permanent inclusion to the Affordable Care Act subsidies that were passed with the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. But even though Bernie Sanders would like that, Bernie Sanders says, no, we need to expand the Medicare eligibility. Instead of 65, the age should be 55 or possibly 60. And he says we need to include dental, vision, and hearing care as well. Those are all necessities. The problem right now is that these are two of the most influential Democrats as of right now, outside of Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and outside of President Biden. And I guess you can put Vice President Kamala Harris in there as well. But these are two of the most influential Democrats at this time. Bernie Sanders is considered one of the leaders of the Progressive Caucus, and he's the only progressive in the Senate. Nancy Pelosi, she has a lot of power as the Speaker of the House. And if these two are going to go at it, then getting only one of these deals done is going to be trouble. This is according to a few lawmakers. They say only having one of these and having these two people, these two heads, as okay, President Biden either picks you or he picks you. Can't be both. So we will see. The good news, though, is that President Biden didn't really outline in his infrastructure plan that this is a take it or leave it plan, which means he is now open to negotiations. He will negotiate not only with Democrats, he says he will negotiate with Republicans as well over the scope of the bill and the financing options. Right now, what we know is President Biden wants to increase the corporate tax rate, and this has a lot of people a little bit unsettled. Joe Manchin says he does not support a 28% tax rate. He would support 25, but not 28. But he also says there needs to be some type of reform to the tax code as well, because all corporations are going to do is find the loopholes and then they're going to exploit them. It's what they do every single time, and we need to think ahead. We need to be proactive. So we will see. However, economists worry that by raising taxes on corporations, that probably won't work for some of the major corporations like Amazon or Nike or even FedEx, that it is actually going to raise taxes on the average American as well. We also know that 13 attorney generals from different states are suing the Biden administration as of today because of their tax mandates. Some of these states are trying to cut the taxes for their residents in order to help them out during this pandemic and this tough time. Yet the Biden administration says, no, you cannot do that. So we will see what happens there as we get more information. I promise I'll keep you updated. What I can tell you right now is a big and probably the biggest negotiation we're going to see is about to take place. But the problem is nobody even knows what exactly is in this infrastructure bill. We have an idea, we have the framework, but outside of that, we really have nothing. So again, as I know more there, I promise I will keep you updated as well. But in other major news, today the Department of Treasury said that the federal government spent $660 billion more than it collected in tax revenue in just March. This is just 1 month, $660 billion. That is a lot. That is a huge deficit. That is the third largest deficit the United States has faced. The last two times we faced an even larger deficit was actually in March and April of 2020. You can probably guess what happened in those months. So some economists are worried that because the federal government is not doing, because the Federal Reserve is not doing everything that they can, we're going to see some major issues. And this is actually causing the stock market to go up and down crazy amounts in just a single day. If you look at your stocks, you pull up your phone, you pull up Robinhood or Webull or whatever app you're using, you pull it up and look and say, oh, I'm down today within the first couple hours of the day. All right, then you look in the middle of the day, oh, I'm up. Cool. Then you look maybe an hour or 2 hours later when the market's closing, oh, I'm down or I'm up and maybe I'm flat. It's crazy what's happening in the market. It's a great time to make some money if you know what you're doing, but if you don't, it could be very risky. But the real worry right now is that the government's budget deficit for the 2021 fiscal year is currently $1.7 trillion. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's just the first 6 months. But what I can tell you right now, and this is what some economists are worried about, is if Democrats do not figure out a way to pay for the infrastructure bill, and we add $2.25 trillion to the deficit, that would put us at $3.9 trillion, almost $4 trillion as a deficit. That would be the largest deficit we have seen in the United States. And this is what is causing a lot of people to worry that the Biden administration is really going to pay for all of this spending through who knows how. They're questioning. They're questioning, how is this going to be done? Because as of right now, multiple Democrats, not just Joe Manchin, not just Mark Warner, multiple Democrats, not only in the Senate, but in the House as well. I believe as of today, the House, or the Democrats in the House, only have a majority of, I think, 6 or 7 votes. It's a 6 or 7 vote majority. Here's the issue. If, let's say it's 6, and let's say 3 Democrats defect and they go and vote with Republicans. If that's the case, it would be tied. If it's tied in the House, according to a few people here in the community as well that have kind of explained to me how that works, but in the House, if the vote is tied, there is no tiebreaker. It means that the vote is dead. The bill is dead. So because of that, the House can only lose 2 votes now. Before it used to be 5, and then it was 3, and now it's only 2. That's a big issue. Right now, it's becoming very, very tight for people in the House, or for Democrats in the House. In the Senate, it's a 50-50 split. If one Democrat decides to vote Republican or votes no, which Joe Manchin and Mark Warner have both stated they do not support President Biden's infrastructure bill as it stands right now, if this is the case, the bill is not going to pass. The bill will not pass. So we'll see what happens there. But if you want to know how to pay for this bill, Bernie Sanders, he released a tweet earlier today showing what countries are actually spending on their defense budgets. And this is where some experts are saying we could use that money. Well, Bernie Sanders showed us that the United States spends about $740 billion in defense. China spends $193 billion. India, $64 billion. The United Kingdom, $62 billion. And Russia, $61 billion. And then so on and so forth. But the United States spends over half a trillion dollars more in defense spending than China. So here's what a few experts said earlier today. One says, why not cut back our defense budget and put money into direct payments? Another expert says, maintaining with China should not mean spending $500 billion more per year. And the last person said, the difference between the United States and China is equal to a $1,400 stimulus check to eligible Americans every single year. Yes. So to be blunt, many economists are saying that we are simply throwing money away and then we complain that we can't find it anywhere. This is true. This is very true. The more research I do, the more I realize this is exactly what we do. We throw money away to just different problems, random problems that might not even impact us anytime in the future. And then we're like, oh, I wish we had an extra $50 billion. We could have paid for that. Well, we did until you spent the money. So let me ask you though, okay? Because right now, while the United States, the government is spending all of our money, the American people are suffering. But let me ask you, who's at fault here? Who's at fault? Is it certain Republicans? Is it certain Democrats? Is it President Biden and the Biden administration? Is it the previous administration, the Trump administration? Is it everybody? Is it the American people? Who is it? We don't know. We do not know who is at fault. So let us know. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who's at fault? And how can we get this fixed? So all I want to do right now is just thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. If you want to continue to get these daily updates, all you got to do, click that subscribe button down below. Also, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help out the channel. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your Monday, and I'll see you guys on the next one.